hadith by Abu Hurairah radiallahu anhu. He says this. Abu Hurairah said that there was a man by the name of his name was, subhanallah, Jurayj. And this man Jurayj, he was a worshipper inside of a worshipping hut, and he used to pray a lot. He was like a monk, he secluded himself for the sake of Allah and abandoned the world. So his mother once came up to him and called him out. She said, Ya Jurayj, Ya Jurayj. And he was praying nafil prayer. Nafil meaning voluntary prayer, sunnah prayer, voluntary prayer, the non-farad prayer. She called out to him, and he, in his salat, he thought, should I respond to my mother or respond to Allah? So he chose, stay in the salat. The second time, Ya Jurayj, I am your mother calling you. He said, should I answer my mother or stay with Allah? He said, he chose to stay praying. The third time she came and asked him, Ya Jurayj, I'm your mother calling you, answer me. He wouldn't answer. He says, should I answer her or stay in salat? So he chose to stay in his salat. Unfortunately, the mother made a terrible dua against him. She said, oh Allah, me, the mother of Jurayj, I called out to him 3 times and he chose not to respond to me. She didn't know he was praying. He chose not to respond to me. He is aaq. He is disrespectful to me. Oh Allah, give him a problem in his life with dirty women. Jurayj, after a time, it happened to be that there was this dirty woman, impure woman, who went and committed zina with a sheep herder, a man who was a farmer. And she gave birth to a child. And she said, she was married, she said, this child is the child of Jurayj, the monk. So the people dragged him out of the home and destroyed his house and wanted to stone him. So he calmly asked, what is the problem after all that? She said, this is your child, you are not a person of wrong, you've committed zina. So he smiled and said, bring me the child, subhanallah. And he wiped his hand over his head and made dua, and he asked the child, who is your father? And he said, my father is the shepherd. So the people said, we will build your house out of gold and silver. He said, no, return my house the way it was. And that's enough, insha'Allah. What we learn from this hadith is sahih, by the way. I looked through it, insha'Allah, musahhah, it's authentic. What we learn from this hadith is that if you are in nafil prayer or voluntary prayer and your mother or father called out to you, you should stop your salat and respond to them. That's number 1, nafil prayer, not the farad prayer. Farad prayer is a must. Number 2, a parent should be careful with their dua against their child. I have a story back in Australia. There was a sheikh that I met, and he said he used to teach back at Lebanon, and there was this girl studying for her year 12 exams. He said she would come to school and stay over hours and study extremely well. But she came to the sheikh who was her teacher, and she used to complain. She used to be always crying. She said, "Ya sheikh, I have a problem with my mother. She overworks me. When I go home, she overworks me. And I do work, and I've got to study for my exams, and I'm trying my best. Wallahi, I do not disobey her with anything. And she is so harsh to me. She made a dua to me today. That's why she was crying. She made a dua. She said, may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala make you fail your exam and never pass. And she said, may Allah not be pleased with you. So she said, I'm crying, Ya Shaykh, and I'm studying hard now to try and beat the dua of my mother. So the Shaykh gave her advice and said, tawakkal ala Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, have reliance upon Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. True story. And he used to see this girl studying. Just before the exams, by about 2 weeks, she stopped studying, stopped coming to school. Subhanallah. And she did her exam and failed. The following year he met her, or he asked her friends. He said, what happened to that girl? They said, Subhanallah, Ya Shaykh. 2 weeks before her exam, her mother was crossing the road in the car, struck her, she died. Her mother died. And as a result, the girl was so distressed over her mother, she couldn't study anymore. And she failed her exam. The mother made a dua against her daughter. The dua was not good, so the mother died, and the girl obviously was written for her, but Allah's mashi'atillah, the way Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala works with things is unexplainable. And the girl failed. She passed the following year. The point from that is, and his sister was asking me, should I do the nafil prayer or respond to my mother and father? We answered that. You respond to your mother and father and then continue nafil prayer. But I just wanted to mention, the dua that parents make against their children in these circumstances, be very careful about them. We know that the hadith al-sahih, which is in Muslim, that Rasulullah said that 3 types of dua will never be refused. And one of them is the dua of a parent against the disobedient child. He also said, لا تدعوا على أنفسكم. Do not make dua against yourselves. ولا على أولادكم. And not upon your children. ولا على خدمكم. ولا تدعوا على خدمكم. Don't make dua against your servants. ولا تدعوا على أموالكم. Do not make dua against your wealth. عسى أن توافقوا ساعة يستجاب فيها فيستجاب لدعائكم. Do not make this dua because you may coincide with a time where Allah is accepting du'as and your dua will be accepted. Be very careful with these du'as, my brothers and sisters.